Alright, it is time for the start of a new playthrough. So, we have done War Machine in the past, we did it on the Axton, but now, Maya is also affected by War Machine. So, as you can see, this skill tree is different, by a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and comb through, see what is where and why it's there, and then we'll just kind of like figure out what we want to do with our character and actually start playing. Okay, so I have read... Okay, so first off, action skill. It is basically phase lock, which also deals damage to the enemy when phase lock is ended. Enemies that can't be phase locked will instantly take the damage instead, and if you have any skills that are tied to phase lock being active, they will last for 6 seconds after hitting that enemy. And then passively, Maya receives less elemental damage, and everyone on your team's Molly-1 SMGs are laser weapons now. You also get 25% more base health and shield. So that's pretty cool. Right tree is nuts already, I can already tell. So Flicker acts like Flicker, but if you phase lock an enemy, it kicks your elemental effect chance up to 100% during that phase lock. Also, Helios is now here. It also provides an extra 10% elemental status damage whenever it's at level 5. Foresight is now a kill skill, so you get your bonus mag size while the kill skill is active, which seems a little bit weird. And it also provides elemental effect damage instead of reload speed. And then at level 5 it does give 10% weapon damage for Fire Shock, Corrosive, and Slag guns. Molly-1 weapons receive an additional 10% during activation. And then we've got increased elemental damage and status effect damage, and it's further improved for shock weapons, and it also increases team shock status duration as well. We've got Immolate, which no longer requires you to be downed at all, and just actually works. It just works like normal, basically outside of that. So all of my shots will have fire damage with that skill. Cloud Kill. If you deal elemental damage, it spawns a cloud. The cloud lasts for 1.3 seconds, and it has a cooldown of 0.2 seconds. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm just going to put it out there. So I guess we'll just kind of see how that goes. And then Iridium Sanction. For all the reserve Iridium you have, you get more effects. So, increased status effect chance, weapon status effect damage, grenade status effect chance, grenade status effect damage. So, this isn't too crazy, because status effects in late game already are not very strong. So this will actually just make them feel useful, especially later into the game, which is where you would have all of that Iridium. So this kind of does make sense to me, and it's a good way to do it. And then we just have this, it's called Null Nova. If you cause a status effect and it does damage, it'll cause a slag AoE that has a 10-second cooldown. So every 10 seconds, if you apply a status effect and it ticks someone, this can trigger and apply a slag AoE. It'll hit the enemies around it too. That seems super duper nuts. We have Powerhouse, which while phase lock causes Molly-1 weapons to have increased damage, fire rate, and dot damage. And then we've got Reaper, which is at 65% max health now, instead of 50% max health. So it's a little bit worse, but it's interesting. So that's pretty cool. And then we still have Ruin basically being Ruin. So that's also pretty cool. Okay, I've read Middle Tree. So we've got our healing skill right here, which is shoot a teammate, it heals them. Now it is like 10% of your weapon damage based on the max amount of Iridium that you have. So more Iridium is more heals for your teammates. We've got Ward, which now provides temporary shield while you have an enemy phase locked. And it also will add that shield instantly. So if your shield is down a little bit and you phase lock, it'll give you that boost, and then it'll also still have that increase at the end. And then at level 5, phase locking instantly heals 10% of your HP and grants 5% damage reduction during activation. We've got Leverage, which is while phase lock is not active after it is off cooldown. So basically, whenever it's available but you're not using it, you get extra shield capacity, recharge rate, delay, and you get movement speed and jump height. We have sustenance, which almost basically acts like sustenance, but it also gives you max health. We've got Sweet Release, which appears to still do what Sweet Release does, so that's pretty cool. We do like that. And then Scorn is here at level 16, and now the way that Scorn works is you throw it out, and it's a black hole that applies a burn to enemies, along with dealing 3 times your current health value to enemies within 200 units of the black hole. The black hole then also releases its energy to shock enemies around it. That's a lot. So it can hit 5 times current HP, is what the bottom says. So I don't know what that's about, but that's pretty cool. That feels like it'll be really, really strong. I will feel bad that it's not slag anymore, but that's okay because we've got other stuff to do that. I mean, we've got Null Nova over here. I'm sure we'll find some other stuff as we go. And then we've also got this skill right here called Energy Condensation. If you have an enemy phase locked, every time you deal damage to an enemy, you will get a stack of agony, and it will increase your max health by 1%, but it also makes you take more damage. And the idea is you stack it really, really fast, and then you throw out a Scorn Ball so that your max health pool is massive, and the Scorn Ball will deal a really big chunk of damage to enemies. So that sounds really cool, and I really want to run that early because I think that would be sick to use. And then we have Emergency Circumstance, where whenever you phase lock an enemy, your shield gets drained, but it heals your teammates and it reduces Scorn's cooldown. So it makes it cooldown faster, so that you can also do that. So that's also kind of cool. And then Adrenaline, which this is basically just Life Tap, but it's nerfed. Because realistically, Life Tap in the base game is super duper strong, so this makes sense to me. We've got Res down here, which it makes sense that Res is all the way down here. And then we have Thought Lock. And Thought Lock is basically the same, it just doubles Phase Lock's duration, and it makes it take 2 times as long to cool down. That kind of makes sense to me. I probably won't really use Thought Lock because I am a pretty basic gamer. I do like myself the normal way of doing it, but this is cool. So that is cool to see. Alright, so I've read Left Tree and there's even more. Mind's Eye is still basically Mind's Eye, so that's pretty cool. Accelerate is now bullet damage and reload speed and bullet speed, and it is further improved while an enemy is phase locked. We've got Fleet here, which just provides more movement speed and weapon swap speed, so that's a really nice early game skill to get there. We've got Subsequence, which is still Subsequence. We've got Wreck, which is now a kill skill that provides fire rate, chain reaction, and movement speed on kills. And then we've also got Focus Fire, where dealing a crit gives you 2 ammo from your reserve back into the mag, and then has a 15% chance to reflect that bullet towards a nearby enemy. It doesn't work with snipers or rockets though. Also, crits have a 25% chance to electrocute a target, dealing 100% of your weapon's status effect damage. Each activation of Focus Fire has a 0.2 second cooldown, but that's still really, really strong. And then Kinetic Reflection seems to basically be pretty similar. It's got a little bit of a different kick to it, but it's basically still chain reaction. We have Converge here, which is no longer also a singularity. It now, on top of the singularity, deals damage to the enemies based on your current health pool value. So that's pretty cool. We have Blight Phoenix, which still does Blight Phoenix stuff. And then we have Quicken, which is, it increases phase lock duration and kill skill duration. And then we have Echo, where basically for every 5% movement speed we have, we get 2.5% more damage. So for every, it's just basically all of our movement speed, we deal half of that as additional damage. So that's super cool. And then we have this, where whenever you phase lock an enemy, all the enemies on the map move slower, fire slower, and reload slower, and have slower bullet speed. And your team moves faster, fires faster, and has faster bullet speed. This is nuts. So these are all really cool. I want all of the skill trees already. We need to play the game to actually get there though. So let's actually get started on playing the game because wow, there's a lot. Okay, so now we're gonna have a problem. All of our abilities just sound super cool. So I don't know what I want. Everything just looks cool. Like, I thought I was going to go down right tree, and then I read middle tree, and then I read middle tree, and then I read left, and I was like, every single one sounds great. We'll definitely get the movement speed early, and then I don't know what we'll do from there. Also, I am curious to see which skills get buffed by class mods, because most of them sound really nice, but as of right now, I don't know what the outlier is going to be. I think Agony could be super cool, stacking a bunch of max health and then throwing out Phase Lock and then a Scorn Ball. That could be sick. So if we just health stack and like that's our end game plan, that'd be cool. That'd be an interesting way of running the character compared to normal. Right? Level 6. So... oh, this is a passive. So I don't even need to... interesting. Okay, so I don't even need a skill point in this. This just is here. That's cool. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah. Alright, cool. Yeah, so healing your teammates is passive. And you just need the Iridium to make it work. Sure. That's cool. Let's get that movement speed and that swap speed. Honestly, I think passives on characters is super cool. The idea of like, oh, you're playing this character, you're gonna be better with this. Or like, you just innately have this. That's super cool. I think that's super nice. Okay, I found a Molly 1 SMG. So this will be a good first test here. So if I shoot you, it's a laser. It's instantly a laser. That's so cool. So yeah, on a normal character, this would not be a laser. This would be, in fact, a standard Molly 1 SMG. It would shoot like normal, and it has low damage because he's a level 31, but it would just be hitting direct beams instead now, so that's really cool. Okay. You know, I believe in us. So we're just gonna go walk into Snowman DLC, because like, surely that'll go well, right? Interesting. Okay. So I'm noticing that I'm dealing shock on top of the fire damage that I have. So that's weird, and I'm not entirely sure what the cause is. Let's try using the SMG. The SMG is purely fire. I think I heard something about multi-element weapons existing, and this might be a case of that, because I'm not entirely sure why it's doing double element here. I kind of want to note that my SMG is dead on accurate regardless of what the reticle is saying here, because those are all just beam crits, and I don't know if that's intentional, but it's nice. It's really nice. Oh, right. I forgot since last time we played that these exist. TDR shields giving weapon reload speed, fire rate, cooldown reduction, and movement speed. Right. These are still so cool. That's so ridiculous. Okay, cool. Level 11. So for level 11, we're going to go ahead and invest in Middle Tree because we would really like to get Scorn. I think it'll be fun to mess with. Obviously, all of her other trees are super cool and neat and stuff, but the max HP stacking really has me interested. So we need to put points into Ward, which will give us the extra shield capacity on phase locks, and then since we have to level it up to level 5, it will also give us some health and give us 5% DR. So that's nice. So these might not have the proper skills associated with them, possibly. Or maybe the names of the skills on the class mods just aren't up to date yet. Because Life Tap isn't called Life Tap. And then Chain Reaction, the name, doesn't exist in here anymore, I don't think. As it's basically relegated to other skills. So class mods might be a little bit weird. But definitely, I would imagine they probably still work. We'll have to find out. And for Snowflake, we're just going to kind of do the funny to him since we're still under-leveled. This is probably enough damage. And yeah, he's down. Pretty much just a vanilla cheese there. Nothing really like modded about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Hi, what's up? We have a Topnia. It's Slag, which once again doesn't deal slag in War Machine anymore. It just deals like a base damage. And we don't really have to worry about like slag itself as like a damage type or like a debuff. Alright, and Snowman kill number 2. See if we get enough XP to hit level 15 right off the bat, or if we'll have to do another. Okay, so 15. Now. Oh, okay, Leverage is a 1-point skill. That kind of makes sense to me. And then Sweet Release is probably, or Sustenance is probably where we'll go next. So that's pretty cool too. And then these class mods. Okay, so they still provide buffs to skills. It's just not displaying the right things, I think. So that's good. Most of these still work. Okay, cool. Yeah, so these still work. It's just the names aren't updated. So that's not a big issue. That's just kind of a mental note that we'll have to keep in mind. Okay. So this doesn't really work with our skill build, or our idea, because it does reduce our max health. But a little extra movement speed and some swap speed early on into the game because of the Breakneck Banshee comp. That could be super fun. And then we do have Elated and Sustenance over here, which these are now moved over. So Sustenance pretty much normal, just that extra max health. And then this is reduce your shield and to give teammates health regen and reduce scorn cooldown rate. So you could get like a 50% CDR on Scorn and then just spam it out really, really fast. And then probably get a melee override relic and then cool it down even harder. And then maybe just start throwing those out. We might have to keep an eye out for these. Matriarchs could be fun. So yeah, I think we got everything we really wanted from this DLC. So we've got a couple items to play with. We're pretty much just going to push from here. I'm looking forward to this already. This is going to be great. I'm trying to think. An interesting thing for me is the fact that this is going to promote a very fast, aggressive Maya, which is not what I'm used to. I mean, she's good at being aggressive, but she's a little more turtley. She's not as quick with it. So, switching over to a full movement speed, free reign fighting style can be weird, but interesting. I just want to throw a Scorn Ball at Terra and watch it just chonk for like no reason. I think that'll be funny. Something about level 50 Terra fight with the Scorn Ball sounds hilarious. Alright, Flint. Right, turn in that quest. Go ahead and put on the Topnia. And then we're going to go ahead and just grab this quest marker right here. But that will go ahead and do it for today. We have covered so much ground. There's a lot of stuff going on. Fortunately, we've already played War Machine through with Axton, so we have general ideas about how the equipment handles. It's just how the actual character herself will handle. So, as of right now, she seems like she'll be a really cool, tanky, throw scorn at people, run around really fast type of character. I'm really looking forward to it. I think this will be super cool, but there's just too much stuff. I have to call it a day, or else this will be like an hour-long video. So yeah, that'll do it for day 1.